This is Duelist, along with Starchild, and we are here on the 5th anniversary of the initial public release of MechWarrior Living Legends. We figured it would be nice to sit here and record some podcasts, see how they turned out. And Living Legends has been thought to be dead by many people ever since the other games started up, and especially thought dead when GameSpy went down. But thanks to the work of the community, there have been alternatives found to continue playing the game. People will even come in and play the game and think that the game is completely dead because the servers admittedly have 0 people on them in a number of times. But just this past weekend, we played with 36 straight people. We played with 28 people on the Chaos March event. And so we figured we'd come in and tell you what we've been up to the past year. So, do you remember where you were last November and what you were talking with Sudabor about in 2013?
We were talking about Forever Legends.
Yes. And I seem to remember at the time it was talking about a mini 4-person one-weekend tournament. Did it end up being a mini 4-person tournament?
4-person tournament?
Whoops.
You mean?
A fort. Yeah. Did it end up being a small event?
2 versus 2. Oh, yeah. Oh, the Forever Legends. Yeah.
It was a little bigger.
Smaller. Well, it was smaller than we thought because some teams withdrawn even before started playing it. So.
I remember that it was going to be a one-weekend event with 4 teams, and we ended up, the community got 8 teams at one point of 5 players apiece.
Yeah.
And even though 2 teams had to withdraw and the tournament technically wasn't finished, there were still quite a bit of matches played, and I think the teams took it pretty serious, Starchild. If I remember, one of the units even had 2 dedicated guys that worked around the clock working on drop lists.
Yeah, I remember that too. It was pretty fun actually, but.
And so the way it worked was the teams would get the maps they'd play on and who they would play, along with the drop weights, and then they had a week or 2 or more to put together the strategy and put together the drop weights, and then they'd meet at a set time, and they'd play a best of 5 maps. And then the victor would get, I believe, 1 point or a half point for a tie. And then the tournament was designed, each team would play less.
Yeah, I mean, you will have been subtracted 0.5 points, not added, so yeah.
Were there any ties?
Yes, actually, one of the first matches I played, the BKS versus RDL on TC Warzone. It was the third drop of the tournament. Was a tie, yeah.
And even though the tournament didn't finish, I do believe a good majority of it was played. And I know people had a lot of fun with it, and if I remember correctly, it even created a lot of positive momentum for the game. There was a post on the front page of Living Legends. There were articles on websites, and there seemed to be a general increase in the number of players in the game. So,
well, I saw an article even on Sarna.net about Forever. Yeah, an article on Sarna.net about Forever Legends. So.
And that event was in the planning processes in full time in January, and I believe it was played from mid-February through pretty much the end of March before things kind of fell apart a bit. And then the next event that came up was an Invictus-led event, a Knights of the Inner Sphere 2v2 tournament. And they did something kind of strange with the maps. Do you remember what they did with the maps on that?
Yeah, exactly. They basically converted the Finalizer, which was a developer of Wandering Samurai Studios. He worked on some official maps like TC Ivory Tower Basically, he took the original SA maps and converted them to TSA maps. So you basically will have two different teams instead of a free-for-all game mode. So you could drop with another player and team up with him and fight against another team, basically.
And since these were smaller maps and maps that are designed for team deathmatch mode like that, it made the matches that much more enjoyable. You didn't have to walk a couple of miles trying to find each other.
Yeah, because the map for Solaris Arena are very, very little compared to the other ones. Of course, they are arenas after all.
And I remember that you and I ended up getting involved with this. We helped provide a server for it and the TeamSpeak, and that was played from the initial round was a round robin, and that determined seeding. We played that in May, and then the actual single elimination tournament was played in June and parts of July. Another tournament we didn't quite get to finish. We're still scheduling on that, so if ELH and KOS are listening, we'd love to get that championship in. But that was also a pretty good success. If I remember correctly, Star, your team, I think, made it to the semifinals.
I teamed up with Ivan.
With Fractura Laniatis.
Fractura Laniatis, yeah.
And we had to play ELH. We won a map. We were proud of that. That's as far as we got. But that was fun, and that was an example of something that hadn't been done before that was interesting in the community. But
I think the funniest match of that event was the one where Bob and Noel fought against TLH, and they ended up without ammo. They had to they basically, that game finished in a draw because there were no ammo left for
I remember this. Yeah. Just going off of memory, I believe one was a Solitaire Delta with an LBX-20 and machine guns, and then the opponent was a Shadowcat A.
Yeah.
With its laser arm blown off and its UAC-20 out of ammo, and everybody was just standing there. Now what?
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
But that's why we play the games, so we can have moments like that. And then I remember there was an upset. Null and Bob were a very strong team, and I remember that they didn't end up making it into the finals. They had significantly damaged their opponents on TSA Forest Valley V2, but because they didn't have many good assets left, it was you had an asset. You could use every asset in game except for like the Dayashi and the Fafnir, but they would carry over from match to match. So if you used all your stuff early on, you wouldn't have it later. And they ended up having it was a miscommunication. I think they thought that the round robin stuff would carry over. It didn't. But anyway, they had an MK2 and some other mech, and it was a really good battle. But in the end, ELH pulled it out. And so we'll hope to finish that one. But it was around the same time we knew that GameSpy was going down, which is the multiplayer service required to play this game. And we weren't entirely confident that the solutions we were looking at the time would be viable. And so just to be sure, we held the final assault, also known as Operation Viper 2. But we held that. We were starting to plan it, and I'm like, okay, well, we've got 2 weeks here. We can do it. I remember I was working with Starchild and Kentax and a few other people. All of the stuff had already been online from the last Operation Viper event, and thanks to all the wonderful help from everybody, we were able to hold it off. And basically what it was I showed up at midnight, and when we had at least 2 people to play, I'd say, okay, which planet are you attacking? Some of them had factories, and if you defeated a factory, the other team couldn't build that mech anymore, or it was a stronghold planet. And we played all the game modes: TSA, TC, the traditional drops, everything. And I believe it got pretty crazy at one point. We had a full server of about 13 versus 13, or no, 12 versus
12 versus
12.
12.
And
The 13 versus 13 was achieved only with Just March.
yes. And I remember we were waiting on a map download at the time. I had chosen a map that was a very large, slow downloading map, and I ended up having Bob wasn't too happy with me after that map, I remember. But we had a lot of fun. I didn't get a lot of sleep that night. We played about 74 straight hours. I slept a little bit, star covered while I was asleep. And we finished just short of when the shutdown happened. And what did the shutdown happen that day, Star? On June 30th?
The shutdown happened in two different days, actually, because the first day they shut down only the authentication service. That happened on June 16th. The second shutdown happened on July 16th, and the second shutdown was the shutdown of the master server list server. So yeah.
Did that July service catch us by surprise a little bit? Were we a little like, what's going on?
Yeah, because we didn't expect that, because because basically GameSpy services were supposed to be stopped on
the 30th of June.
Yeah, the 30th of June. Yeah, I guess.
And they didn't quite.
Yeah, they didn't. They did. Oh wait, actually, the shutdown started the 16th of July, not of June. July. Yeah. The first shutdown was 16th of July, and the second one month later. Yeah.
And at the time, I remember, my fault, I'm sorry. We were looking at a solution that ultimately didn't end up working for Living Legends.
Yeah, we looked for many different solutions.
At the time, we had Bruno's tool, right?
Yeah,
that's what we were using at the start.
That tool is still pretty useful, actually, because, for example, there are people who have some problems with the QTracker host file fix because they can't edit the host file, or they don't have administrator privileges on the PCs, so they can't actually edit it, and so they are forced to use this tool, which is still good, actually.
And I remember we were sitting there, well, at least we can still play the game. How do we manually plug in these numbers and these things? And the tool was fine, but then I remember Vic Viper was sitting there, and he's like, guys, this QTracker thing, and I'm like, what is it? Of course, we'd looked at it, and we follow his directions, and everything worked as before.
Yeah.
So that's been nice. So I mean, as long as you're able to or comfortable editing that file, you're good. But there are also other solutions. But everything's been hunky-dory since then, outside of a few outages during opportune times.
Yeah, but it's pretty fair, actually, because they are giving us this service for free. They're not charging us anything for that, so I guess it's fair enough.
And so once we had our game back and we knew we'd be able to play it, what was the problem we ran into, Star? What had happened to the player base?
Actually, we saw basically no changes. It's still the same, I guess, because when you fall in love with NWL, nothing stops you.
Right. But so, at the time, even though it was still the same, it wasn't the greatest. So I remember that I remember I had a pretty crazy idea at the time to run another event to try and get people to come in and learn how to play this game again.
That's what we're doing now.
And how'd that first weekend go?
First weekend
of the Chaos March, was it smooth sailing?
There were some problems.
Okay, so what about the second weekend? Did that go a little better?
Yes, it was. I can't actually remember now, but
Well, I
uh,
mean,
I,
people kept
I,
playing
gue-
it.
I guess that the weekend uh, where where we applied the cherry picking, the free cherry picking from our regiments was the best one of the first ones, of course.
The event required some of your time before we got it to a balanced point. Yes, you were a little
Yeah, of
busy during
course.
these times.
Yeah, because we were listening to feedbacks from all the players, and we actually had to change many things of the
We learned
even
as we
many
played.
rules. Yeah, exactly. It's
Like that one match that ended in a tie. We had to change a few things.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um,
Because eh, yeah, as I said, this well in the other podcast, this event was supposed to be played by an experienced player base and also a competitive one because it wasn't actually suitable for just
and at the time, it was all
pubbers.
pubs. There were no
Yeah,
units
yeah,
officially signed up
yeah.
outside of the two,
There's
and
there are
they
still
were. Yeah.
pubs, so there are still pubs now.
So
I
after a
mean,
while, we got it working. I
yeah,
mean, but there were still some issues, and I mean, after a while, we kind of all realized we've collected enough information on the regiment system. Why not try something new? So that's where those regiment pools, but we call them asset pools, came in.
right, regiment pools.
So we've been
Yeah,
playing this Cast March thing for about 6 months. Pretty soon here. Has it been fun for you?
it was a mess for me. A mess because I guess I spent 3/4 of the time. I mean, no, the actual time for the Cheers March, basically working on it instead of playing it.
You mean volunteering?
So,
Because it's not like you were getting paid here.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, we are all having fun here. It's that's the spirit of the game. We are here because we want to have fun. It's this game is not the usual free to play when you have to grind, where you have to
Like a certain other game that we won't mention.
yeah, where you have to do more damage, yeah, than possible to get more money and that stuff like that. Basically,
So
here you just come and have fun with us. Basically, that's the spirit of the game.
this Cast March thing has
and it
dominated
works.
our year, and it's still being played, if I'm not mistaken. Yes.
Oh well, last weekend we managed to play 13 versus 13. So
That's basically a full server in this game.
yeah, the server was actually full because there were also 2 spectators. So the server was actually at full capacity.
So the Cast March runs on
and
weekends.
speaking about that, I also want to thank again Zoidberg for letting us use his server because 28 players. I mean, being able to host a server for 28 people is actually requires many resources. So yeah.
So you can come watch the Chaos March. We play it on Saturdays and Sundays, usually lasting all day. Technically, we start around 1300 GMT. That's 1300 UTC. Around 8 a.m. American Eastern Time, and players can hop into the game and spectate on the server if they just want to watch. We also have live streams available sometimes. You can get information on that and the rest of the event at the events subforum at mechlivinglegends.net, or you can also check out cq.mwmaster.net. If you want to play, we require TeamSpeak, and you can download that at teamspeak.com, and you can point to the server that we're usually on, mwll.mwmaster.net. It's a public event, though, Star, so anybody that's willing to be a nice player, they can come in and play with us.
Even Rask played with us, so...
Hi, Rask.
Hi, Rask. We all love you. We all love you, Rask.
And so that's played on weekends, and there's a number of videos out there available to see past matches, and so 2014's been a really busy year, Starchild.
Yeah, busy. Yeah.
A game that's over 5 years old publicly, and almost 7 years old since somebody initially said, "Hey, this create a mech game." This game's not exactly dead
yet. I mean, creating a new mech game could be the best idea, but we know that we can't actually do that because of reasons. Let's say because of
Oh no, not create a new net game. That would be crazy. But it's an old game, and mods usually have a certain shelf life, and this one keeps going and going and going.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So Starchild, for 2014, we got a bunch of people to thank. I think, right? I think that first off, we should thank you for putting in all those hours and helping me out while we've been doing some stuff this year. I think it's been a success. So thanks for all the time you've put in. And certainly like to thank Invictus and Kentax for kind of providing, creating some events in some cases and running them, or
some
helping
inputs.
Yep, providing feedback as Star and I kind of learned how to throw some of the stuff together.
Suggestions and their suggestions.
A big thanks to Vic Viper out there for hosting the Huntress Network, which we've utilized quite a bit this year.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
And also a thanks to Defender for helping us out when we've had some questions about Living Legends, and also to Burner for being involved with a lot of our events and also providing his TeamSpeak server when we've needed it. And there's so many people to thank, but Silvercraft and Papscan for their feedback and everything, Null for his advice. And just
Burner for his suggestions for the asset pools. Definitely.
And there's just too many people to thank, so if we forgot you, I'm sorry. But there's so many contributions. It's a small community, Starchild, but everybody really helps each other out to keep this game alive.
Indeed. Yeah. We are few. Well, we say few but good. Yeah. Few people but good ones. So.
And so for 2015, who knows? Planetary League, what do you think, Star? Can we do it? Are we looking into it? Maybe.
I guess
that's a maybe.
It's too early to talk about that. We need some good automation.
And some other tools.
Automation stuff. Yes, my tools now are a good way to start with, but we need more advanced tools.
But there's always things we're working on, ladies and gentlemen. And for Starchild, myself, and on behalf of everybody, we wish you the happiest of New Year's. And we'll see you in 2015, and who knows, Star, maybe even 2020 in Living Legends. So take care, everybody, and we'll see you if there is a next installment on the podcast. We'll come up with a name later. Bye, everybody.
Bye.